This is our Palos Verdes Land Conservancy Nature Walk, and today we're at, where are we today? Alta Vista, but it's the City Hall of Rancho Palos Verdes. Great day, crisp, fantastic day. What we're going to do is see a couple things, some military installations from Second World War, the Nike missile base. There's not a lot to see, but we'll check that out. Bugs, birds, insects, any questions you have, rocks, plants, a lot of things to see. And if you have questions, just ask. It'll take about an hour. We're going to loop around and see stuff. Catalina's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah.
You can see the mountains behind Malibu too.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a great day. Catalina used to be called San Sebastian. It was changed by Vizcaíno. But when Cabrillo came in here, he named our little San Pedro Bay of Smoke. And then when Vizcaíno came in here, in 1602, he changed it to after St. Peter, and he named that after St. Catherine. But it used to be named San, what did I say?
Sebastian.
That's wrong, San Salvador. This way. I'm just quizzing you people. I'm making sure you're keeping, you're going to be quizzed.
Arrows?
Yes. This makes the date pretty easy for me to remember. Part of a military installation, and we're going to go around it, and it has three ways to get into it. It was a gun emplacement, 6-inch gun, held 6 men. And it shot about 15 miles, and we'll go around the entire thing. But as you can see, it's dug into the hillside, well camouflaged and hidden. And it was a self-contained unit. They could hold these 6 people in there for quite a while. I don't know how long, but they had air filtration units. And you'll see every now and then these little stacks sticking up. And it was pretty nice little hidden gun emplacement.
Probably wasn't a bad way to spend World War II.
Yeah, absolutely. They never shot a gun in anger, did they? No.
What does ED stand for?
I think it means Department of Energy. Energy Department. United States Energy Department. So now we're at the front of this installation. This is where the 6 men would be stationed, air filtration units. They could stay there for a fairly long period of time. That's the gun circle that Barry had mentioned right over there. 6-inch guns go about 15 miles. 6-inch means that's the diameter of the bullet. So it could go about 15 miles, which I guess is Santa Monica, something like that. And Barry had mentioned it's different than the ones at White Point and at Fort MacArthur, because they had a much larger. They were shooting like 14 and 16-inch bullets, which is that diameter of the bullet, and they could go 25 or 30 miles. So I mean, they were really blasting out, and when they would blast those things off, all the windows would shatter in the neighborhood. This one probably kept the windows intact. But this is the front side. We saw another side, and we're going to go around and see a back side. So there were a bunch of ways out, and like that one gentleman said, it was a nice way to spend World War II, and it was pretty safe. The ones at White Point and Fort MacArthur actually did go in and out.
And railways?
And there was one on a railway, and it would be hidden, and then it would go out on a railway. But a lot of them have these nettings that were really great camouflage.
So how much reach did those guns have?
These would be 15 miles.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 30 miles for the 12-inch and 14.
Yeah.
15 miles.
Hey.
So in other words, they
Hi.
have.
Hi. Good. Hi, Colleen.
They have other guns on the north side that control the north.
But how accurate?
We're getting more people. Is Catalina just fascinating today or what? Is this great? And I know a guy that actually swam the Catalina and back. He wasn't satisfied just to swim there, he swam back. We're at the point here, and we're overlooking a couple things. We're looking at the lighthouse, first of all. That's Point Vicente Lighthouse, and the lighthouse was named by George Vancouver, 1793. And that lighthouse was first erected in 1926, and it was under the Lighthouse Service. And then in 1939, it turned over to the Coast Guard, and that's where we're standing today. This is Coast Guard, and there's still some Coast Guard officers who live in those houses. That's also tough duty, yeah. And so the lighthouse was built in 26, turned over in 39, fully automated in 1974. It has kind of a special lens called a Fresnel lens that was built, and it was created in about the 1880s. But you can go in that lighthouse. It's a lot of fun to go up. You go up there, and it's about 70 some steps to the top. It's about 67 feet from the base to the top. It's 197 feet from sea level. So it's a fun thing to do. It's free, and it's opened today at 10. So by the time we're done, they'll be open. And you've been in it before. It's great. It's a neat old part of history. Looking north, we're actually looking at some different points, and these points are all basalt. So when you get these points that stick out in the bays, Lanada Bay and coves, Sacred Coves, Abalone Coves, the bays are actually softer rock, and the points are the basalt. The basalt is lava, magma coming up, going, being underneath these softer sedimentary rocks. So as the ocean, as you can see, crashes in, it eats away the softer and leaves the harder basalt. If you looked 1 point past that, which we can't see, you can't see it, but 1 point past that, in 1961, a boat was coming down from Vancouver going to San Pedro.
Dominator.
And it was called the Dominator. It almost made it. It was only like, 5 miles, 8 miles, and banged into the cove at that point. And it was, the men stayed on the ship for a couple days because they didn't want to abandon it, but they couldn't get it off, and that was it. And it's still down there. So if you go down there, you can still see pieces of it. Everyone always says it's gone and all that. It's not gone. It's still there. There's pieces like as big as the roof of a house lying flat. But it's it's called the Dominator. It's at Lanada Bay, on the north of Lanada Bay. It went down in 1961.
Oh, 61.
Yeah, neat.
It was a big attraction when it went.
I was there.
There all the time.
Oh yeah, it was pretty weird to see. And I went in the boat many times over the years, and now there's nothing to go in.
Was it a freighter?
It was a freighter. It was hauling grain and beef, and the grain expanded and popped it, so it got wet. Boom. Great little place. This is one of my, I really like this one plant here. And you can stay up there. This is called Bladder Pod. Bladder Pod, it's in the caper family. It looks dead, but it's not. As soon as it gets rain, it'll come back. But I really like the gnarly stem that's on this stuff. And it's a really nice looking plant, yellow flower on and off most of the year. And I like the windswept look that it has. The cactus that we're looking at down here, we have two different kinds of cactus. If you see the rounder pad, like right in front of us here, we have kind of a rounder pad. And that's called Opuntia auricola, round pads with yellow spines. If you go to the left a little bit, you see more of a beaver tail, right a little bit, I'm sorry. You see more of a beaver tail, and that's called Opuntia littoralis. And it has more of an oblong with a wider spine. The problem with these, they do have a tendency to hybridize, and when they do, then you kind of don't get one or the other. You get a combination.
Are they indigenous?
Pardon me?
The red things.
Oh yeah, the red is called tunis, and you can eat those, but they're really tough to eat. I've eaten them, and I've eaten the pad too. I've eaten the pad a lot. The pad is much easier to eat and much better to eat it. But the little fruit thing is filled with seeds. I had a question over here.
Indigenous?
Yes, yeah, those are indigenous cactus. Let's go. Some of these are so round, they look perfectly, they look like plates. And some of you can actually see Mickey Mouse on it almost, so they're perfect. But this is the auricula, completely round with yellow spines. And I have eaten these. I've eaten the auricula and the littoralis, and we're going to see a farm that actually farms these at the end of this walk. But the hardest part about these is actually cleaning them. I've always got them in stores when they've already been cleaned. But they taste like string beans. And when you put them with chorizo and rice and beans and like every other thing in Mexican food, it's just fantastic. So you don't know what you're eating, they just taste great. We used to put them in the morning and they would be fried, yeah, with eggs and all that stuff. It was great. The part below us here, you can see all the stringers, all the pipes, and all this is going to be planted in native plants. So this is a new thing that we're doing. We're taking out the acacia tree, and the acacia is that tree right in front of us. They're an Australian tree that grow very rapidly, and they're very invasive. But this is all going to be planted, and it's going to be really, really neat. Right below us, below these two cactus, is what's called another opuntia, and it's called jumping cholla, or Opuntia prolifera. And it's another cholla, it's another cactus, native cactus. So all three native cactuses are right here. We have the littoralis, auricula, and the prolifera. And isn't it nice and warm on this side? Yeah, it gets warmer as we go down, so you won't be in the wind anymore. And we'll check out the old Marineland site too. We can look down on that.
What about the ice plant? Are people trying to get rid of that?
Well, that would be a nice thing. It's not that hard to get rid of because it pulls up easily. It's just hard to get to pull up. As you can see, that one's right between all the cactus. But we do have cactus wrens and we have California gnatcatchers in here. Both of them are rare. The California gnatcatcher is extremely rare, and they're both in here. And Dave and we were here Friday and we saw a gnatcatcher and we heard a cactus wren. So they're here. Other side. This is called a trash web spider. Can you see this thing here?
Yeah.
And what they do is they get their trash together and they make like a little cocoon, a little cone out of it, and then the spider usually hides inside that pile of trash. Now we're going to try to find an orb weaver too, and a trapdoor spider, and we're going to try to do a lot of different kind of spiders, and we may see another trash spider. This isn't the best example of it, but it's not bad. And if you see an orb weaver or anything interesting, a corner spider, funnel spider, any of those, let me know.